Hello, hello, and welcome. This is the Fat Vegetarian. I wanted to take some time following the Marathon Server Slam to take a look at some clips that I recorded, as well as the final run that I made. Um, wasn't a great video actually, but it was the last one I had time for, and I did want to kind of look at it as an example of what to do and what not to do, as well as some highlights and lowlights and that sort of thing. Okay, I've got chat active now, which is pretty cool. I did record all of my clips. I am trying to get them to display on OBS. I've been trying for the better part of 20, 30 minutes, and OBS is not picking them up. So I will continue to narrate while we try and get this to display properly. Oh, okay, hold on. Wait, what? Okay. I'm trying VLC. VLC seems to be working. You just got to hear some of that. It is louder than I wanted it to be, and it's trying to update. No, let's not do that now. Alright, we're going to switch to this window real quick while I try and get VLC to display here for you guys. It is there. Very nice. Okay, let's see, can I split screen these? No, I want it to be full screen. Please take that awful effect off. What did I do? Delete, remove, cancel, close. Well, that's less than ideal. You know what? We're just gonna... Oh, wait, hold on. It should be in... No, that's not it. Is it in... Yeah, this is going great, isn't it? Okay, we're gonna remove that. We're gonna try again. Yep. So I've had it, like I said, I had a lot of fun. I didn't play it as much as I wanted to, but I did play it a good amount, and I probably played it more than enough. Let's see. Let's get that set up. Like I said, I would have loved to have had this done a long time ago, but it's... Why is that still... Oh, there it is. I see. I was trying to do a... Oh, let's fill the screen. There we go. I was trying to do a little cool glitch fade between the logo and the gameplay footage, but that ended up not being a thing. So, I do want to take a quick second here and go over this song. Not this one. Let me see, where is it? This track here. I did want to talk about this track a bit while let me hit play on that and just cut the volume from the actual footage down. This is called We Stole a Moon, and this is probably my favorite track from the newest soundtrack that we've gotten. One, because it's just weird, but I love the implications. We stole a moon. Everybody, well, not everybody, but if you know Marathon, you know that the Marathon is the moon of Deimos, purchased from Mars by the UESC to convert into a colony ship, much to the chagrin of a lot of the Martians living there at the time of the purchase. The Marathon, again, per the lore, that was a transaction that was okay with both parties. It wasn't a theft, it was a legal proceeding that people were upset about. Although, of course, if this song is supposed to be, say, portraying the perspective of Maida, there's me not realizing my gun was empty for a couple seconds. Just go some fisticuffs with a robot here. If the purchase was made, excuse me, without the express permission of my... Oh, that's the same clip again. Those are not loading the way that I would like them to. Alright, we'll have to do this manually. Let me see, is that loading? It is not working. Oh, because I didn't tell it to open with it. What's it called? Oh, and we lost the music too. Look at me go. I'm just batting 1,000 today. Here, let's try that. There we go. Can I make it not show the... Where's my mouse? Hello! Track synchronization. Customize interface, maybe? Is it that one? No. It's also completely black. Like, there's no footage here. That's just outstanding. It is completely refused. It's refusing to do anything right now. So if the song is from Maida's perspective, we stole a moon, then why is it the we? You know? Again, I'm probably thinking a little too hard. Marathon tends to cause anybody to look at things and double take and all that. But again, if you know Marathon 2, Marathon Infinity, you know that the Yarrow, I'll give you guys some game footage in the background. I forgot about that. That was really funny. This is my Rook run. The Yarrow stole one of the moons of Lawan. They took Kalia and they just noped out of there. And that's sort of what I think of. I tend to think of the Yarrow more than the colonists aboard the Marathon. And it could have a double meaning. I mean, Marathon's all about that kind of thing. But anyway, I think it's really neat. And like I said, that track is by far my favorite. I'll play it again here real quick. That's not it. But it gives such an uneasy and weird feeling to everything going on. You can see when I recorded those. Don't really want that visible. Again, I was using Shadowplay for these, so they're usually very short clips, except for the last one that I do want to show. I just wanted to go through the whole round that we played. And this is, I didn't understand the concept of the anomaly. I didn't get how that worked, so I got us, the Expector and I killed a couple times. But ended up not being the end of the world. Or, sorry, Mr. Joe Shambles. This round was kind of fun. We had two teams jump us here in perimeter, and we managed to wipe out both teams. This was the first team get the drop on those guys and finish them off. This was the Flame guy. I don't remember his name. The name will pop up on screen here in a minute, I'm sure. Yeah, it was the Warden. I was right. So that was pretty fun. I knifed him a couple times. It didn't go great for me, but I did it. Another bit of footage. I had some really cool moments that I didn't record because I didn't have Shadowplay going, or I was honestly not thinking about recording a lot of this. So I was just in the moment and just like, holy cow, we just survived that. That's insane. And doing my best to just stay in the moment and keep us alive. I was having a lot of trouble with the microphone during the server slam, which I think everybody was having. The proximity chat just was not working the way that they wanted it to, which is a bummer, but you know, that's how it goes. So I had to resort to text chat a lot, and sometimes they couldn't even see that. But everybody I ran into was real nice and communicative. They weren't always super helpful. Sometimes I had some teams that would just sort of run away and do their own thing. Yeah, get over here. Gosh, it's so satisfying to do that. There's a second half of that clip. But overall, my experience was great. I really enjoyed the combat and the emotion, the rush, the stress. Getting to run in there and loot. It's an extraction shooter, and most people think Tarkov, which is where my first thought was, oh, it looks more like Tarkov than anything else. I play a lot of Hunt, of course. Hunt Showdown's one of my favorite games, and that's what I have the most experience with. And I don't really care much for Tarkov personally. It's not a bad game. I just like, this is really funny. Just yeeted them off of the barricade. And got to finish him off too, or her, whatever. Yeah, it's not coming through on their end. That one was really short. That one must have got corrupted. Yeah, these guys were real fun. They were just hyping me up the whole time. Just, oh my gosh, dude, you did it! Go get him, get him! They were about the same level as I was, but they hadn't done a lot of Dire Marsh. They'd been grinding mostly in perimeter, it sounded like. So the new environment, I got to show them around Dire Marsh for a bit, which was cool. I enjoy doing that. But I was very pleasantly surprised. I didn't think I was going to dislike it. I didn't think I was going to hate it. But I had a really good time running around and taking a look at the world. Of course, I'm mostly in it for the lore. That's what I enjoy the most out of the Marathon series. The gameplay, of course, is really fun, and that's what's keeping me coming back. remember why I took this clip. That's how that usually goes. You get a bunch of footage and you're going, I don't know what that was for. Oh, that's right. I just thought it was funny to shoot the ship. That was literally it. That was one of the first clips I took. I was very excited about that. So this is the match that I recorded. It's like I said, it's about 15 minutes long. Give you guys a little more volume there. So I did not realize that I was loading into Perimeter. I did a lot of, like I said, I played a lot with randoms. Got to meet a lot of really neat people who were a lot of fun to talk to and play with and all that. These guys were quiet. I grabbed a Dire Marsh exclusive contract and didn't realize it till it was too late. You'll see that moment of realization here in a minute. I'm looking up at the top right and going, where's my objective? Perimeter? I was having a hard time remembering where to get to the menu. The controls aren't bad. They're just different than what I'm used to. Like C is melee by default on PC. Which you get to see me use a little bit there. Yeah, don't go that way. That's not where we want to go. And that throws me off all the time. I'm hitting F all the time, and F is one of your specials, which is not always a good thing. There's me trying to find my mission, going, oh, I'm in Perimeter, dang it. So there's that moment right there. I really enjoy just the sort of, what's the word? Kleptomaniac approach that you get to take, where you just run through and just spam E and just collect and like suck up all the little bits of debris and stuff into your inventory. It's a lot of fun, you know? It reminds me a lot of Blood West and Stalker. I think Stalker is actually probably the thing I'd equate it to the most. Between the difficulty of the AI and the player-controlled characters, to the tense nature of gunfights, the way that, you know, just a couple stray bullets will really mess you up. Endgame loot is really powerful, but you can still get totally wiped by some noob with a sponsored kit or a rook. I have not been killed by a rook yet, but I'm sure after release I will. The only rooks I encountered were ones that I killed or that got away for one reason or another. This is the Burt SMG. I was saving all this gear. I was like, oh, that's expensive. I don't want to run that. I don't want to use that. And I was like, this is the last round I'm going to play until release proper. I thought that window was broken. I was wrong. I was like, I might as well load up with an expensive kit here. So I did. The healing interface has been taking a lot of getting used to. It's weird. It's not that dissimilar from other systems that I've used, though. There's another game that does something similar, and I unfortunately cannot remember what the system is, or what game it is. I'm just trying to help him find his objective here. Like, I don't actually know what I'm looking for. I love the function of the laser weapons, the Volt pistols and things. Works just like the fusion pistols in the original Marathon games, which, if you've been paying attention to the channel and watching any of the streams, you'll know I'm working on a 3D printable Marathon 2 and Infinity Volt pistol. I love the reload mechanism there. It's just very cathartic to just spit out the cartridge. One of the things I really like too is the dynamic events that can occur, where you can, as the player, you can trigger them, or they'll happen to you. Perimeter doesn't have a lot of like automatic world events, I think people were calling them, where, you know, things just happen to you. You sort of have to instigate the trouble that you're going to encounter. Dire Marsh, you've got the lockdown, and you've got the anomaly that will attack you. So Dire Marsh is definitely more dangerous, and I really enjoy the almost exponential increase in danger as you go from zone to zone. Perimeter felt really scary and dangerous when I got here first, and then after seeing Dire Marsh, it was like, oh no, Perimeter is the kiddie pool, comparatively speaking. I'm getting to go through all the loot here. The consumables, it's not really a we're getting attacked by a player here. So you'll see right there, that is a scout. I don't remember her name off the top of my head, but the sort of the recon character. So we see her in this clip. She drops him, her, whoever they are, and I get a couple shots off on him. And then we see the heavy character, who, again, I don't have the names memorized, unfortunately. So he falls back into that building, and we sort of get to push on him. Like I said, these guys were not very communicative. They weren't bad. They were good, decent players. They just didn't talk or respond to like anything. So you see right there, that is when they killed the scout. I didn't know that. I completely missed that. I was so locked in on landing shots on this guy. So I spent the rest of the match expecting them to show back up. With the consumables, the things that you loot, it was difficult to kind of get a feel for what was what. But that really only lasted for like maybe an hour of gameplay. After like 2 or 3 runs, it was like, oh, okay, I know what this is, I know what that is. They do tell you the value of items when you mouse over them, or like select them with the controller, what have you. So you can see the value of the loot you're picking up right there in the loot screen. So there they go, they've been pushing him. And they drop him. They down him, excuse me. So, when they get him, they knife him. And I'm expecting there to be a third, but there's not. One thing I do like is, similar to Hunt Showdown, your default squad group size is 3. It's a really neat backpack, and I tried to drag it on. You don't want to drag it. You just click. Click will equip if it's available. Click will equip, or stick in your inventory. So keep that in mind. Yeah, these guys were relentless. The loot pops up and they just vacuum it all up. Even though I was there first, I was still too slow. But yeah, I managed to understand what was going on relatively quickly. I understand people don't like the UI. I didn't care for it much at the beginning, but the more I used it, the more natural it felt. And I wouldn't change it, honestly. I think it's fine the way it is now. But again, I've gotten to have some more time with it. And I think people hate to hear that. Oh, you gotta, the first couple hours is just the learning curve. Like I said, it only took me about an hour, maybe 2, to really get the hang of it. I don't think that it's a 4 to 6, 10, 12 hour wind up before you get there. It's not been that bad at all. So I would suggest, if you do try it, again, the Server Slam is over, but if you do buy it and want to see how it is before you refund or what have you, give it some time. What I did was I spent a lot of time in the codex looking at things, using that help menu there on all of the menus to just kind of get a feel for what I was looking at, and that really helped out a lot. I know one thing that I kind of went back and forth on was, I wish that some of the attachments had a little description of what they were, or some kind of signifier of what the chips and the mods did, like your player mods, your cores, that sort of thing, on the icon itself. Like if there was a little tooltip, a tiny little square or something on the icon itself, instead of having to hover over it and see what it says. However, that thing, see, that's one of the times they did communicate, just bragging about their loot, which is fine. This was cool. And then that was another thing. Sometimes the chat window would queue up your movement commands for whatever reason, so you get a string of nonsense when you try to type, that was kind of amusing. But again, however, I think that the ambiguity of what something is and what it does, you really have to make a split-second decision. Am I going to keep this? Am I going to leave it? And by leaving it obscure and kind of hard to read, it kind of ups the tension, because you're waiting for it to load, you're waiting for that tooltip to pop up so you can quickly scan it, gloss over it, go, is this keeping? Is this not worth keeping? Okay, I'm going to keep it. And I think that fits the tone really well. I know a lot of people were upset about that. Like I said, I was having issues with it for a little bit there, but the more I think about it, the more I think it fits the flow of gameplay. Thought that might have been what he needed. That's another thing that is kind of annoying, but also I understand why they did it. You can't see other people's objectives for a quest, mission, whatever they want to call it. You have to. It has to be your mission as well. So when I'm playing with friends, what we'll do is we'll try and follow kind of the same path. That way we can both equip the same mission, double your progression. sometimes, depending on what the objective is. But you can usually double your progression. You can also see where other people need to be going, which is really nice, because that's also where you need to go. Oop, a little bit of lag there. Performance during the slam was actually pretty good. I didn't have that many issues. Again, my frames kind of capped at like 80, which it sounds like was sort of the norm. That was pretty much where everybody was at. Getting higher than that was not super common. Like I said, I've got a 3080 Ti. I've got 32 gigs of RAM. 32 or 64. I can never remember. That's really bad. I should have that memorized. I think it's 32 because I got 4 sticks of 8. So yeah, that's 32. I have an i9 129K something, or 12K something or whatever. Not top of the line, but I mean beefy. Especially at the time that it all released. This was, you know, I've managed to get the high-end computer of 6-7 years ago. And so a lot of games I can hit above 100 FPS, no problem, on like max and ultra and all that. I turned a lot of settings down on this one that I thought would affect the graphics, would affect the performance, and I didn't really see a measurable increase or difference. You'll see a lot of like pop in and load in for a lot of objects and foliage and that kind of thing. That's because I turned the view distance down to see if that would help. I know, like Hunt Showdown, for example, your it's like object ratio and detail, object detail can really tank your system for little to no meaningful visual change. So I usually turn those down or low, and that gave me like a 50-60 FPS boost. Fall damage is kind of harsh, but again, they don't want you to be just yeeting yourself with reckless abandon off of things. But like I said, performance was okay. I did have some like network connectivity issues, it felt like, where the server would lag. I would do something and the whole thing would freeze or the screen would go black. That was a little scary, especially in a high-stress situation like getting jumped by another team. This is just more UAC drones here. The AI are phenomenal. I agree with what a lot of people have been saying, that the AI really feels like they're player-controlled most of the time. There are several times when someone comes by and I'm like, I can't tell if that was a player or if that was an AI. The way they play, the way they take cover, kind of the decisions they make. Sometimes they do stupid things like just stare at walls or shoot into cover without like understanding that they're not hitting anything. But on the whole, they're a pretty formidable opponent. Definitely not insurmountable, as you've been able to see. You can wipe the floor with them pretty reliably. But still, they can be. Trouble spotted. They gang up on you, you're done. I've had my team get wiped by the UESC pretty often, actually. The different shells, this one's Vandal, I think is what she's called. I think they have different base melee strength. So that quick melee to see, just getting to punch something in the face, seems to be different across classes. After landing a couple rounds into them, I would have expected the heavier shell, the tank class guy, again, I don't remember his name, that punch would have dropped that bot, but I could be wrong. I may be misremembering or misunderstanding the base melee damage. Let's get soaking up some scenery here. I love the aesthetic. I love the design. It's one of my. It was what drew me to the game in the first place. Was that trailer they put out a couple years back. At that time, I'd known of Marathon. I played it before, but I hadn't really gotten into it. You know, I played through the first 1 or 2 levels on the Xbox port. And I was like, oh, okay, I can kind of see where Halo, started. It was neat to see Bungie's, and what I was told at the time was their first-person game, which wasn't true, but the person who was instructing me didn't know much better, but it was still really neat. I thought it was cute, I'm like, I like Doom. Doom's cool. This is just space Doom. Okay. I mean, Doom is in space, but whatever. Hey, someone's here. Welcome in. So when that trailer came out, that got me really interested, and I I started looking into it again. It took me a number of years to discover Aleph 1. Lord Mandalore's videos, of course, are phenomenal and really got me hyped. Helped me fill in the pieces that I was missing. Because I think my reading comprehension's pretty good. I think I'm rather intelligent, but a lot of the deeper lore stuff and kind of the back and forth and the secrets that I missed all went over my head. So it was really nice to have somebody sit down and kind of lay it out in a still complicated but very digestible format. So if you're interested in Marathon, I would highly recommend his videos. They're not lore-specific videos. And this is the Rook kill. The last kill I got was this poor guy just trying to run away. I did not show him any mercy. I kind of felt bad about that, but not really. But I mean, he let me knife him a couple times and didn't turn around, didn't notice, didn't move. So I feel less bad about that. Now here's me grabbing a bunch of loot that I know I'm not going to use. And we managed to extract, although we forgot the other guy. And I realized right about here that he's still not back yet. He's still 100-something meters away. And we left without him. And I feel awful. So if by some miracle, Jackal, you see this, I am so sorry. I thought you were with us. I could have sworn you were behind us. I feel so bad. I did leave the match. Like I said, I was done. I had to go to bed, so I closed the game. But I did want to sit through and follow his journey, but I wasn't able to do that. But I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the runner abilities as well. That was something that I was kind of torn on a bit. Hero shooters in and of themselves aren't bad. I don't have a problem with hero shooters. But I don't know. I don't really care for a cast of characters who have their own personalities and perspectives and that sort of thing that you kind of cycle through when I'm playing a game. I want to be able to be me doing these things. So, like Team Fortress 2 is my exception, right? Like that's the hero shooter in quotes that I really like, that I still go back and play. Not a huge Overwatch fan. I don't think it's bad. It's just not really my speed. But I like having set classes. I don't know. I think too much characterization, too much. What's the word? It can be grating sometimes, I guess. Unless I'm playing a game where like you're specifically this character. But if I get a choice to pick how I want to play the game, I don't know, it just doesn't sit well with me. I don't know, I'm not going to blanket hate on hero shooters, but I'm very glad that Marathon is kind of becoming what it is. And I do quite like the runners. Again, they don't talk much, and I'm okay with that. And this is funny because I'm going to stream Sulaco next. I wanted to do this short little snippet here and talk about Marathon. Sulaco, she's a very talkative character. She is a character for sure. I guess it's just that the hero shooter genre, quote unquote, kind of has a bad reputation, and it's just not really my thing. But if you enjoy it, please play them obviously. But I think Marathon is a really good time. I've spent most of the time with the Glitch, the one that I was playing, or Glitch or Vank. I think Glitch was the pre-release name. Whatever. The chick with the sneakers and the repulsor cannons on her arms and the double jump, and the tank, the shield and the kind of horizontal jetpack burst jump thing, and the shoulder fired rocket launcher. That was a lot of fun. Played a couple rounds as the assassin. Did not play any as the medic, unfortunately. I don't really have an excuse for that. I just didn't. But I can see how it was a good utility. I didn't want people to feel like they had to rely on me when I'm still learning the game. No first aid is better than improper first aid, as they say. But anyhow, I I really enjoyed my time with it. I picked it up. I'm excited to see where the game goes. I got to see a lot of fun story bits. I don't want to leave any spoilers. Please check the game out. There's so many things I didn't even talk about. The contracts and the little bit of lore that we got, and the environment, and I think it's really, really cool. I was hoping to be able to have a discussion with some people, but we don't really have a discussion going, and that's okay. But if you have any thoughts, if you played it and didn't like it, if you played it and you did like it, leave me a comment. Let me know. If you did like it and you've picked it up and we're going to be seeing each other out there, Starside, let me know. Love to see you out there. I am going to take a few minutes and queue up for the next stream. Thank you guys for checking this out, listening to me ramble about something that I'm passionate about. And I will see you in the next one.